All right, we are live. I will give everyone a second to join in if they wish while I get hydrated. Here's to you. It is Thursday. I normally have day shifts on Wednesday, and I try to come up here in what we call the digital studio to talk sports, obviously, whatever the big pressing topic is, the news, whatever's going on, whatever we want to let you know about. I try to talk to you for 25, 30 minutes, depending on what's going on and how much I have. Feel free to pop in, ask some questions in the comment section. We're going to talk today. The big story is the schedule release, the NFL schedule release last night. Nothing bigger than the NFL right now, and that is a huge deal. Nothing bigger than the Lions right now, really, in the state of Michigan. Although, well, what am I saying? The Tigers. Right now, nothing bigger than the Tigers. But football season will soon be here. Expectations obviously going to be sky high for the Detroit Lions coming off the 15-2 season, and we won't mention that early playoff exit. But we will talk about the Tigers as well. I think that's the only two things that we're going to talk about today. Hey, Barb. Good afternoon. Barb Culberson. Where are you from, Barb? Feel free to fire some questions. All right, so love the Lions schedule. Obviously, we all remember when the Lions were poisoned, and the only prime time they would get is a Thursday night game, which was the minimum you had to have. Every NFL team had to get at least one primetime game. So the worst teams would get a single Thursday night football game, often on the road. Well, it is not the same old Lions because Detroit, the NFL clearly loves the Lions and has high expectations for the Lions. Barb Culberson. Hi, Barb. Sorry, at work in Sturgis. Good. I'm glad that you can peek in and ask some questions and listen to me ramble about the Lions schedule. Thank you. The Lions, the NFL has high expectations, clearly. They have 12 nationally televised games. That means they're going to have a lot more 425 games as opposed to the traditional 1 o'clock game. They have 5 primetime games, 2 Monday Night Football games, 1 home, 1 on the road, 2 Sunday nighters, both on the road, 1 Thursday Night Football game. And that's not even mentioning the fact that they play on Thanksgiving and Christmas this year for the first time since 1999. Only 2 other teams play on both Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys. So clearly those 2 teams, huge brands, and the Lions held in high regard to get such a fantastic schedule. Speaking of the strength of schedule, and I don't go too crazy about this because it's based on your opponents and their win-loss records last year. And as we all know, you can throw that out the window for a lot of these teams. But only the New York Giants, based on last year's win-loss records, have a tougher strength of schedule, winning percentage of .574. The Lions and Bears tied for second, winning percentage of .571. That's what happens when you play in a very good division. Obviously, with the Vikings, much improved Bears and the Packers, and you play the first place schedule as well. So a lot of people say, well, how do they create the schedule? You obviously get your 6 games against your conference opponents, 3 home, 3 away, 4 games against a rotating list of divisional opponents from both the NFC and the AFC. So this year they have 4 games against teams from the NFC East, 4 games against teams from the AFC North, obviously 2 home, 2 away for all of those. You get 2 games against teams from 2 other divisions in your own conference that you're not facing. So that would be for the Lions, the NFC South and the NFC West, if that's making sense. Maybe you don't care. Maybe this is too much inside baseball. I'm a nerd. Your 17th game against a non-conference opponent from a division that the team is not scheduled to play. So they're getting the first place Chiefs. So that's why the schedule is so tough. The NFL designed for parity to help the teams that were terrible last year be much improved this year. That's one of the reasons why you will see huge jumps for teams that were 5-12 last year will go 12-5 this year. Love the schedule. Love the love that the Lions are getting. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like inside Ford Field. It is kind of brutal, though. Back to the strength of schedule, the discussion. The road schedule is brutal. Their first road games are at Green Bay, at Baltimore, at Cincy, at Kansas City, at Washington, at Philly. That is a gauntlet. A lot of great quarterbacks that Detroit is going to face this year. You got Jordan Love, debatable whether he's great, but a very good quarterback. Lamar Jackson, the two-time MVP. Joe Burrow threw for 40 touchdowns last year. Patty Mahomes, enough said. Jaden Daniels, Lions fans remember him from that playoff game. Rookie of the Year, outstanding player, Heisman Trophy winner in college. Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP last year. And some other guys by the name of Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, perhaps Aaron Rodgers. I don't know how much people fear Aaron Rodgers, but he's expected to sign with the Steelers who are coming to town, and I think it's week 16 off the top of my head. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to make a huge jump, just a huge talent in college. Solid rookie year, not spectacular, obviously, but I think Ben Johnson and the weapons he has, he's going to make a very big jump. So they went 15-2 last year. Then it's going to be incredibly hard to duplicate, obviously. So let's take a look at the schedule. Week 1 at the Green Bay Packers. If you want to go to Lambeau Field, you need to go to Lambeau Field early in the season, obviously. You don't want one of those frozen tundra games. Detroit's played very well against the Packers in recent years, especially in Lambeau. There was a time when Detroit went God knows how many years in games without winning in Lambeau, but it's no longer a house of horrors. I think it's 3 straight wins for the Lions in Lambeau Field, but very good opponent. Matt LaFleur, great head coach, and that's a rough opener. Week 2, we go home. You get the Bears, expected to be much improved. Hi, Jeanette. Checking in from Coldwater. How about those Lions? You're in luck. That's all we're pretty much talking about today is those Lions. I expect them to be much improved under Ben Johnson. They got a lot of weapons. They lost some close games last year. I can't remember if they won just 4 or 5 games, but a well-regarded draft. Picked up some linemen in the offseason through free agency. Big Ben Johnson believer, big Caleb Williams believer. They could have beat the Lions last year at Lambeau Field. Remember, they had that terrible clock management at the end of the game that cost Matt Eberflus his job. He was probably going to get fired anyways at the end of the season, but they canned him right away. It was so bad. So you open against the Bears in week 2. Week 3, you head to Baltimore. 2 years ago, the Ravens just absolutely crushed the Lions in Charm City. Not the Lions we know now, I would say. Obviously, they were on their way up. They were on the ascent, and not the 15-2 team of last year, but a tough place to play. I've been there. I used to live there. John Harbaugh, great head coach. That's going to be rough. Monday Night Football in Baltimore. Week 4, come home against the Browns. Who knows who's going to be starting at quarterback? Obviously, Shedeur Sanders went there. Probably not going to be him, but respectable defense, but the quarterback situation's a mess. And then there's two stretches to this season that are I've kind of circled that are kind of rough. Week 5, you go to Cincinnati. Once again, Joe Burrow at the Bengals. Week 6, a Sunday nighter at Arrowhead against the Chiefs. I know they beat them there a couple years ago, obviously, but for my money, and I've never been there, but I just feel like it's the loudest stadium in the NFL and perhaps the best home field advantage in all of the NFL. And then week 7, you have the Bucs back home on Monday Night Football. Tampa's played the Lions very close in the playoffs, in the regular season. They beat them. They beat the Lions in Ford Field last year. So that's a tough 3-game stretch. At Bengals, at Chiefs, against the Bucs, at home. Hey, Candace, go Lions. A lot of Lions fans checking in. And then you get a much-needed bye week. That's really nice. Week 8, I think the players kind of love that. Anywhere from week 6, 7, 8, you're not going to get it exactly where you cut the season in half, but you don't want that thing too early. You don't want it too late. You want your porridge just right. So I think that week 8 bye is nice. And then that second stretch of games that I think are very concerning. You got the Vikings in week 9. We're going to see. Obviously, they were 14-3 last year, but that was under Sam Darnold, who's now gone, who's now in Seattle. They got J.J. McCarthy. I know you love him. I know he's a Michigan Wolverine. I know he did well in the preseason before suffering that knee injury, but he's going to be a rookie quarterback. We'll see how that goes. That is a home game. Then week 10, week 11, at Washington, at Philly. Obviously, the Commanders ripped apart that depleted Lions defense in that opening round, divisional round playoff game inside Ford Field. That's going to be a tough place to play. Speaking of tough places to play, if it's not Arrowhead, the toughest probably is Philly. Their fan base is incredibly raucous. That's a Sunday nighter. So again, Vikings at Washington, at Philly, that's another pivotal stretch. Really, you can make an argument that week 5 through 11, I mean, outside of the bye week, is incredibly rugged. A bit of a break, at least on paper, in week 12. You have the Giants at home, expected to be improved, but they signed Russell Wilson. They signed Jameis Winston in the offseason. One of those guys will probably be starting that game at home. Then Turkey Day, home against the Packers. I think Green Bay, was it 2 years ago? They beat them on Thanksgiving in Ford Field. Divisional opponent, you never know. Once again, Green Bay, obviously, very good team. Then week 14, a Thursday nighter at home against the Dallas Cowboys, much to the delight of my 9-year-old son, Killian, who absolutely loves CeeDee Lamb. And he's been asking me the last 2 years when the Lions have been playing in Dallas, when's Dallas going to play at the Lions, Dad? When's Dallas going to play in the Lions? Well, the answer is week 14. I went online to check ticket prices today. Insane. Top of the stadium, $500, $600 tickets. It's going to break my heart to tell my son that barring a miracle, someone eventually giving them to us for, much less a huge discount, I'm not going to be able to take them. But look, the Lions are red hot right now, and tickets in incredible demand. They raised the ticket prices in the offseason. Season ticket sales are up. That means single game tickets, there's not as many. So it's going to cost you a kidney if you have one to spare. So I'm going to hope I can get my son there. But at any rate, week 15, traveling to see an old friend by the name of Matthew Stafford as they head out to face the LA Rams, who were 10-7 last year, playoff team. Very nearly, I mean, they gave the Eagles a huge scare in the divisional round, had the ball late, driving, could have knocked off the Eagles at home. Instead, obviously, Philly going on to make it to the Super Bowl and absolutely crush the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 16, home against the Steelers, who are rumored to, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is waiting on, have Aaron Rodgers at the helm this season. I'm not sure that it scares anyone anymore, but the Steelers do have an outstanding run game, very rugged defense. Week 17, Christmas Day, falls on a Thursday this year at Minnesota. That is a Netflix game. So once again, I know we all complain because we have to have so many streaming services, but if you want to watch Thursday night games normally, you got to have Amazon. Sometimes NBC will put a game on Peacock. This game is on Netflix. I know a lot of people already have Netflix. You can always sign up for a month and cancel it. But at any rate, that's going to be exclusively on Netflix. I know they had some streaming issues last year. A lot of people upset. I can't remember who was on that telecast, but it didn't go well. Hopefully they've ironed out those difficulties. That's a road game. And then week 18, finishing what's going to be a very cold Soldier Field against the Chicago Bears, who I've mentioned about 8 times are probably going to be much improved. So that is a rugged schedule. You get a murderer's row of quarterbacks. You get some very tough road games. I mean, I love the 5 primetime games. We all love that, being able to be home and have the single game and just focus on watching the Lions, no competition. The Turkey Day game, obviously we get that every year, and Christmas Day. It's going to be nice. It's a late game too. It's 4:25. So open your presents, eat your meals, travel to the in-laws. Probably you can do that in plenty of time to watch the Lions at 4:25. I don't have any predictions on win totals. I know that between now and the start of camp, all the ESPNs and NFL networks will put the schedule up on the big vid wall and pick wins and losses. That's too tough to do. This is a 15-2 ball club. This is a very good team, but they got a gauntlet of games. They're going to win. They're going to win some that they shouldn't, and lose some that you don't expect. I know that's huge wisdom, but that is the NFL. So incredibly excited. Obviously, the Lions are going to get started early this year because they're in the Hall of Fame game against Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. in very early August. So that means they'll have one extra preseason game, and they'll start about a week earlier than they normally do to accommodate that early start. So football season will be here before you know it. It's mid-May. The Lions will be in camp in 6 weeks or so. So it's right around the corner, as is fantasy football, which geeks like I need, some people need oxygen. Year 34 of the Haven League, by the way, my college buddies. So that's in a nutshell. There's your Lions schedule. I'm really eager to see how this plays out, to see if this team can finally kick the door in and get to the Super Bowl. But the windows, they close quickly. And I think Detroit, with as young as they are, as good as they are, that window is easily going to be open this season, next season, probably the season after that. But they're going to lose some talent. Luckily, the salary cap keeps going up further than the NFL expects. It's going to allow them to keep a player or two that maybe they would have had to let go. But, they got to kick in that window, while they can. So, we'll start counting the days till the start of the NFL season. All right, wanted to talk a little bit. Thanks for letting me blabber for 15 minutes on the Lions, on the Tigers. Ridiculous. Best record in baseball right now, 29-15. That's a game better than the Dodgers. They are off tonight. Huge midweek series at Comerica. They had that 2-game losing streak, only their second 2-game losing streak of the season. Then they welcomed the Red Sox to town. The offense had disappeared for a couple games. Well, it woke up Monday, 18 hits, and I think it was 14 runs. I know before the season, I didn't put a win total on expectations. I knew they were a 90-plus win team. I think they finished down the stretch like 34-14, which is absurd. Obviously, a game away from getting to the ALCS. I knew the pitching would be really good, but I really had great concerns about the lineup. And with good reason, honestly, with good reason. A lot of unknowns. Look, you had Gleyber Torres, Yankees cast off, solid major league hitter, poor defensively, a lot of strikeouts, hit just 257 last year for the Yankees. They kind of grew disenchanted with him. He's hitting 289 this year. You got Colt Keith, unproven second-year guy, hit a solid 260 last year, hit way better than that in the second half. Huge upside offensively. Defensively, kind of a mess, but he's only hitting 222, but he was hitting a $190 about 2.5-3 weeks ago. So he's gotten hot and raised his average. Zach McKinstry hitting 285. He's never hit near that level before. Trey Sweeney, young player, hit 218, very small sample size last year. He's gotten real hot the last 3 weeks, kind of the same time as Colt Keith, now batting 266. And then the two biggest stories, clearly, of the Tigers season, Javi Baez and Spencer Torkelson. Javi, everybody wanted him released in the offseason. Tigers were not going to swallow that financial pill. And they kept him 184 last year in 80 games. 184, small sample size, but horrendous. Hit 238 in 2022, 222 in 23. He was just absolutely lost. He's hitting 309. He had 2 home runs the other night, a go-ahead 3-run shot in the 6th, then, of course, the walk-off when they were down 2 runs in the 11th, clearly on his way to being named Comeback Player of the Year. Just a fantastic story. He's played really well in center field. There didn't appear to be a spot for him, but obviously Meadows was out, and he's filled in very well out there in the outfield. He's a very good athlete. And then the other is Spencer Torkelson, who looked like he may be a bust very early. I didn't think he was going to be a bust, but maybe not the star people hoped when he was selected first overall. There didn't appear to be a spot on the roster for him, but he had an outstanding spring training, 5 or 6 homers. Picked that up right away in the regular season, only hitting 240, but he's already got 11 homers. I think Aaron Judge leads the league with 15. He's already got 34 RBI. His OPS is 870. Very respectful. So when I said before the season, I don't know if they had enough bats. I don't think they did. On paper, track record-wise, I didn't see it. But again, Gleyber hitting much better than last year. Colt Keith picking up. Zach McKinstry hitting better than he ever had in his short career. Trey Sweeney hitting well. Javi, huge. No one would have bet a nickel that he would turn around his career the way he has. And again, Spencer Torkelson. So they do have enough bats to go without that outstanding pitching staff. And it just seems like when someone else is down, someone else picks them up. There's a very collegial type of atmosphere with this team. It's like they're kids. Most of them are on the south side of 30. So there's just AJ Hinch is an outstanding manager. They just really like each other. It's really infectious, and it feels like a special team. It really does. So what I thought might be a 90 to 92 win team is now trending, I know, projection-wise, but clearly might make a run at 100 wins this season. And I'd still love to see them add a veteran bat. But right now, you can't argue with the fact that they're 29-15 and they have the best record in all of baseball. The only thing I found, and I did see this in a tweet the other day, but I thought it as well, is all those years that the Tigers were bad, the AL Central was horrendous. Well, now the Central is pretty good with Cleveland, Kansas City, and Minnesota all above 500. White Sox are still bad, but just not like historic bad like last season. So it's not exactly like the Lions playing in the NFC North, but Central Division going to be a lot more competitive than it was last year. But this is shaping up like it's going to be a special summer and a special season for the Detroit Lions. And it's fantastic because right now the needle's pointing up on the Lions. It's pointing up on the Tigers, obviously. It's pointing up on the Pistons, who finally got back in the playoffs, ended their long drought of winning games, either at home or winning games, period. They had that NBA record postseason losing streak. That series with the Knicks could have gone in an entire different direction. They lost that in 6. But even more impressive, I think, now that the Knicks may be on the cusp of eliminating the Celtics. They're up 3-2. So the future looks incredibly bright. Detroit is a place now where a superstar might want to come and play in free agency. And I think they have the picks, the ability to make a run at a star. I know Giannis Antetokounmpo is supposedly gauging his future and where he would like to go next. I do think it's a long shot. I read an interesting article that the Pistons would have the ammo to get him, but I do think that they can add a star player. Chemistry is always a big deal. Obviously, what they have is pretty good. I mean, they won 44 games, I think it was, after winning just 14 the prior season, a franchise worst. So they were the first team in NBA history, I think, to triple their win total. But we'll see. The only thing is the Red Wings missing the playoffs yet again. So I know that the mantra had always been, an Yzerman we trust, but I know that the fan base is getting a bit disgruntled there. So, but still an exciting time to be a Detroit sports fan with the summer ahead of us with the Tigers, the fall we're expecting with the Lions. That'll take us right back into the NBA season with the Pistons and Red Wings again. It's a good time, isn't it, to be a Detroit sports fan? Hey, Ron. Long time no talk, my friend. Thank you, Ron, Candace, Jeanette, Barb Culberson for hopping on and dropping comments. If you ever have any questions, if you ever want to find out why we cover something or didn't cover something, or give us a suggestion on an event, I know we're going to start a new human interest feature story series. So if you know of any stories about any inspirational athletes, send them my way. apepper at SBG, that's samboygirltv.com, SBGTV.com. I'm on the Twitter, apepper WWMT, Andy Pepper WWMT Facebook. I can't talk today. But reach out and let me know if you have a question, a suggestion, even a complaint. I'll take all of them. You're welcome, Barb. You're welcome, everybody. I've been jabbering for 24 minutes. I'm going to run out, shoot some video of the new field turf at Western. I saw some pictures last night. It looks gorgeous. Billy Gordon's WMU baseball team trying to secure a spot in next week's MAC tournament. They're right on the cusp. The top 6 teams make the tournament. So this is a huge weekend for them. They have a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So I'm going to go over and shoot that game at 3 o'clock. And then perhaps the Pawpaw softball team, the girls, incredible. I want to say they're off to a 24-1 start. dominant. They have a doubleheader tonight. So we'll have that for you coming up at 6, 10, and 11. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Bye-bye.